Hey, it's Bernadette, and you are in for a treat on this episode. If you are someone who wants to go from zero to investor, then listen up. We have our friend Fernanda, who is also known as the Relentless Latina. And if that doesn't tell you enough about who she is and what she stands for, then you are going to love this episode. I particularly have enjoyed following her journey for the last couple of years because she has been very transparent about becoming a six-figure investor and the challenges that she's had to navigate as a Latina who, didn't get taught this in school and who is really looking to help generational wealth, not only within her own family, but within her community. And so if you're someone who's been intimidated by investing before and you want to use investing as a strategy on how you can quit confidently and be able to move forward with your life, then tune in.
Welcome to Crush Your Money Goals, where we dive deep into all things money as your two millionaire mentors. I'm Bernadette Joy.
And I'm Stephanie Gonzalez. This season, we're shifting gears and focusing on something that affects us all, quitting with confidence.
From financial habits to career transitions, we're here to guide you through the journey of taking charge of your finances and pursuing your dreams fearlessly.
Tune in every week as we share tips, stories, and expert insights to help you crush your money goals and embrace change with open arms. Welcome to Season 7, Quit with Conviction. Welcome, Fernanda, to this year's podcast. We are so excited to have you, and thanks for joining us your morning. As you know, our season this season is all about quit stories, and quit stories can be very powerful because there's an entire process, right, that leads us up into the point of quitting something, right? Whether it's something that doesn't serve us or something that we want to see different in our lives. But I think you have a lot of really amazing things to share with our audience today. So I'm very excited about today's discussion. Thank you again for joining us. Tell us who you are and what you're all about.
Thank you, Stephanie. So first of all, I want to say that, I love you. I admire you so much. I'm Bernadette. I have the pleasure of meeting Bernadette in Puerto Rico last year, 2023. And I can't wait to meet you in person. And it's an honor to be here. So I just wanted to say that, first of all.
Oh, the honor is ours. Thank you for making the time.
No, thank you. So my name is Fernanda. I'm an immigrant from Mexico. I actually moved to the U.S. 5 years ago. So I'm a first-generation immigrant. I used to be an engineer. That's how I moved to the U.S., but I'm the founder of Relentless Latina. Relentless Latina is a platform dedicated, tailored to Latinas. I teach financial education and professional growth. And my entire mission and goal is for women to have financial independence, financial freedom, to build wealth, but also to leave toxic environments and abusive relationships.
Lots of snaps for all of that. So many people can relate. And I've sensed this real lean in for you. I'd say in the last 6 months, you've been working really hard at this entire body of work, but I feel like there's something that has really lit a fire, put itself in front of you. Whatever you want to call it. Right. And we'll get to that. But you have a really interesting story leading all the way up until even the point when you made the decision to agree to move to the U.S. And so what did you have to quit to do that?
Honestly, the story, the bullet points are a lot. So I would like to start maybe by saying that my quitting story started in the professional side. Mm-hmm. And that kind of release a chain of changes and more quitting in different areas of my life. But I started my professional career in 2016. And in my first job interview, I was rejected for being a woman. The reason was because the hiring manager said that women don't have what it takes and we cannot keep up with the pace. Mm-hmm. It was in an engineering role. So that's how, I guess, the first punch in the face. It was like the first time I realized, okay, this is going to be rough. But I come up with a background of abusive relationships, domestic violence. And so when I started my professional career, I realized this was not going to be different.
Yeah.
And it was very hard to let that sink in. So eventually, after a lot of jumping obstacles, I finally landed my first engineering job in 2016, at the end of 2016. And I think talking about quitting, uh, it was something that built up. So I guess in 2017, I landed in the hospital due to chronic stress. I had to be treated with antidepressives. I had a stressful job and I had a boss that would change from very nice to very explosive very fast. And, being yelled at was something common in my day to day. So it was very stressful. I ended up in the hospital. So I guess I quit my health. It's pretty bad, right? In 2018, I was relocated to a higher cost of living state because of my good performance. And having lunch with my newly hired coworkers that I was training, I realized I had the lowest salary in my department. Then in 2019, I was moved to the US again, thanks to my performance. And I was relocated again to now a higher cost of living country, also without a salary increase. So actually my base salary during my 5-year career as an engineer never changed. The base salary was $14,000 a year. That was my base salary. And it never changed.
1-4? 1-4?
14, yes.
Wow.
So it was 22,000 pesos a month before taxes. That's back in those years. It was, exchange rate was like 1,100 a month before taxes. So you were an expat, right? So when I moved to the US, the company was paying apartment and car, but groceries, gasoline, and everything that I needed to pay, I needed to cover with that, plus an adjustment of living. That it was pretty much another 1,100.
All right.
So I guess you could say that in the US, I had the equivalent of $28,000 money-wise, as to pay for all my bills. So I guess it builds up, and this is where my first quit moment began. So a recruiter reached out to me on LinkedIn, and he offered me a job in the United States full time. And long story short, they offered me $20,000 above what I was asking. And that was the first time I quit to something. I quit a lot of things. And from there, everything started to trigger. I had to quit my job, of course, because I accepted this offer. So that came with a lot of more things that I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about. But I think that first decision to quit something literally transformed my life, because it was not just the fact of quitting a job. I quitted to the idea of giving somebody else's power over my professional growth. And not only that, but by quitting that job, the toxic environment, because the environment was really toxic. I also quit the idea that I had to put my health over my work. I quit the idea of having to sacrifice time with loved ones for work. And I quit the idea that I had to pretty much sacrifice everything in my life to put money on the table, because, I was severely underpaid and I was barely paying my bills. So in a way, that one decision of quitting, impacted all the areas of my life. And that just kept compounding. Because once you quit something that is life-changing, you just cannot not keep doing it. You know what I mean?
No, I totally get that.
Yeah. So I guess that's a little summary of that first quitting.
Yeah. It's interesting when we have these conversations about quit stories. It's like this, it's almost like investing. You get started, you get your feet wet, you get comfortable, you build some muscle, and then you find yourself not just quitting, but even being able to say no to things differently, right? As a Latina, I can definitely understand how easy you can find yourself in a situation where you feel like you're doing everything for everyone else, especially in the work environment. And so what are the few mindsets that you let go of, or even things that you had been told along the way, things like gratitude, etc., right? That you had a reckoning with through your quit journey?
Wow. You said one, gratitude. Now, I want to be very clear about this. It's not that you quit being grateful for things, but you start to understand really what gratitude means versus putting everything else above yourself just to be grateful, right? And I think in the Latino community, you mentioned it, it is really common to see, but my parents and my grandparents always raised me with the mindset of you should be grateful because, you know, in the case of my parents, specifically my dad, he grew up poor, and he would tell me stories of, moments when they had to just eat tortillas and beans because there was nothing else like that. That was it. There was no money. So he raised me with this mindset of always, be grateful that there is food on the table. Don't even complain about what it is, right? Just there's food. There is you live in a house, you're not sleeping in the streets, so be grateful. And then that somehow migrates to your professional environment, right? You have a job, just be grateful, close your mouth, and just accept it. So that for me was like the biggest mindset. I call it with my clients, claim your worth. And that encompasses a lot of things, right? But let's talk about professional for a second. Claiming your worth for me, that mindset change is you bring skills, knowledge, and experience to the table. And in exchange, you get paid for it. Claiming your worth means, yes, you should be grateful. You have a job, but at the end, this is a business transaction, right? And you should be paid what your skills, knowledge, and experience are worth. So yeah, you can still be grateful for having a job, but at the same time, ensure that you are standing up for yourself and making sure you're being paid fairly, which I didn't do. And that's what kept me underpaid for a long time, right? And the moment I switched that mindset, surprisingly enough, I not only switched careers, I also landed at my first 6-figure salary because in my mind, I finally understood what I'm worth professionally. My career was everything. Again, I told you I sacrificed a lot of things for my job because I had to put money on the table, right? So once I understood that, once my mindset changed, the next step, the next logical step for me was finances. And I also changed the mindset or quit the mindset of we cannot get more than this. Latinos, we cannot build wealth. Being a millionaire is not for us. And I love that in your podcast, you talk about it. Permission to be wealthy. It's such a powerful message. We are allowed to be wealthy. We're allowed to have money. We're allowed to build wealth. And that really mindset resonated with me. It finally clicked. Then after that, it became relationships, right? Because when you don't surround yourself with people that is there cheering for you, oh man, the journey becomes so hard. So I also had to change the mindset and say, you know what? Who do I want to keep up with me in this next stage of my life? And I'm going to surround myself with powerful people. And that's why I am here with you, right? That's why I met Bernadette. And that's why I have met so many amazing women with such amazing stories. So I guess it was a lot of mindset work there.
Attention ladies, want to be a debt-free millionaire? I'm your co-host Stephanie, and I'm here to help you activate your hard-earned income and achieve financial independence. For being a Crush Your Money Goals listener, I invite you to book your free personal one-on-one consultation with me today and get started on your wealth building journey. Visit www.womenswealtheffect.com/free. That's www.womenswealtheffect.com/free and take control of your financial future. Don't wait. No, absolutely. You mentioned in there that you literally changed careers, right? In this switch of job. What fears did you have, in that? And because, a lot of women, we have these skills, right? That we can translate into other careers. It's this fear of not being ready enough. We want to be 100% ready before we take that leap in most cases, while our male counterparts will be 50%, 60% ready for the job. And they'll be given the job, right?
Yes. Yeah.
What are the fears and our feelings, right? And maybe even practical advice that you'd want to leave with the audience about your pivot in career?
Yes. So I quit my engineering career because during that mindset, I realized that I was tired of fighting so much. It's like fighting against a tsunami. All the discrimination for being a woman, your ideas. You're so young, you're women, you come from another country. We know. Shut up. I got tired of that. So part of that mindset change and that quitting things, I'm like, you know what? This doesn't fulfill me anymore. I'm going to quit what doesn't fulfill me. I'm going to quit what's not bringing money to the table and paying me. It's not paying me fairly. I'm going to quit. If this job doesn't fulfill me, I just want to quit to that. I want to find somewhere where my voice is valued and heard. So I did, maybe talking about practical exercises. I always tell, the amazing women I coach, make a list of all the things that people have told you that you're good at it, or why people go to you for advice. What are those little things? Maybe, for me, it was communication. People told me like, you are so good explaining things. I was an engineer, so you're so good at putting things on a lower level and explaining difficult technical things to like general audiences. You're very good documenting. You're very good critical thinking, problem solving. You're so good at organizing and coordinating, and you love to just create relationships with people. So I started to create like this profile of skills that people have told me like I had, and also I have identified, but not only that, the things I really enjoy doing and the things I don't, right? And for me, it was like almost automatically project management was a match. I had another coworker other coworkers, mainly female actually, that were project managers. And I remember I have this figure. It was this amazing woman that I met earlier in my career. And she was a program manager. And she was a Latina, super short, and she would arrive in this room full of men with customers and suppliers. And she would lead the meeting like, oh my God.
Authority.
So much confidence, authority, just throwing jokes. And I'm like, wow, I want to be like her. So, and I met her earlier, so in my career. So when I was at this point, 2021, I met her in 2016. So when I was in 2021, I went back to her. I look up to her and said, you know what? I want to be like her. And I think that's the amazing thing of surround yourself with amazing, powerful Latinas, women in general, but I'm a Latina to my heart. So project management was a match. And I started to tailor my resume. So that's another practical tip. Yeah. When you switch careers, try to tailor your resume in a way that the skills you already have are like translated to this new position, right? Maybe think about the projects or the activities you had and the results you had, how you can somehow mirror those to this new position. So I tailored my engineering resume to a project management resume. And I honestly just started to apply for jobs and taking interviews. And in, I think, 2 to 3 months, I landed I actually had 2 offers. So I could negotiate and chose the best one. So I did. And 9 months later, I was promoted. And I love to talk about this promotion, not as a way of bragging, but as a way, I always tell my clients, you know what, when you align who you are, what you like, your skills, what you're passionate about it, like, it's surprising how things just align. So easy. Everything just flows. And for years and years, I fought for a promotion in engineering. And I talked to managers and even the president, like, what do I need to be promoted to leave? They would tell me, well, really nothing, Fernanda. You have everything, but I would just not get the promotion. And it is so funny, right? That when I stop focusing on the wrong things and I started to do an introspective work and align myself and my career with my goals in life, which is what I always tell my clients, the promotion just came pretty much out of nowhere so fast. You know, that was amazing. That for me, that was mind blowing. Honestly,
You know, you mentioned you talk through this, and I immediately hear all the people that tell me, like, oh, I can't do that, or no, it's not going to be the same for me, or, you know, a lot of the immediate objections, right? But you have validated what very much happened for me as well, in the sense that I got in the driver's seat. I managed my own narrative. I evaluated what I want and what I did and didn't like. And when you put yourself in the marketing of your own brand and what you want to see out in the world for your work and your life, because you actually tell people what you want, they're like, oh, she told me. I now know where she wants to be. And oh, by the way, she's an amazing worker, leader, employee. So why not? No one else is telling me this. I know what Fernanda wants. And it was very much the same for me. And so when I tell people, get in the driver's seat, right, of your career and what you want, and help other people frame what your narrative needs to be, just as business owners, right? Like, I know what Relentless Latina is because of what you communicate to me, right? And it's the same thing with your career. So I love that you share that with your community, because getting in the driver's seat is so powerful. You have a lot of control, more than you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think you just nailed it there. Taking the driver's seat of your career. Like, stop giving your power to somebody else to decide what they want to do with your professional growth.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've navigated into this, professional trajectory. You're now making good money, more than what you had been before as well. And it sounds like you have a supportive employer. What has now brought you to the point, and you can frame this through the lens of quitting, of managing, taking ownership of your money and helping others do that as well?
So talking about money, I had to also quit the idea that I was bad with money. Oh,
That's a good one.
All my years until I was 20, probably 26, I told myself I was bad with money. I told myself money was difficult, money was evil, right? Like, rich people is bad. I cannot be a millionaire. Like, this is not for me, much less for our community, It was also a mindset change. So for me, I couldn't grasp the idea that managing my money was possible until, yes, I started to educate myself about it. But for me, the real click was investing. Investing was actually the catalyst of, okay, first I need to put everything here on the left side in order, meaning the budget, the paying out debts, and building an emergency fund, the basics. The catalyst to do that was actually investing. It's funny. Because once I understood the power of compound interest, the power of starting today, the power of you don't have to work, you don't have to, exchange your time for money in order to grow your money. Your money can grow for you. For me, in my family, we never talk about it. My family was, you have to work hard for your money and you have to work. And in my head, I will retire at 65 and I had to work as hard as I can and save money as much as I can. My parents didn't invest. Like my parents try to fund their retirement, or they're trying to fund their retirement by saving, not investing. In Mexico and in the US, I think there is not a lot of information about investing. And in Mexico, it's even worse. There is much less. So for me, when I actually ran the numbers I ran the numbers, I said, wow, like, oh my God, it took a minute to sink in. And then I was like, okay, I really want to educate myself about this. And I quit the idea of I'm bad with money. And I guess welcome the idea of I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn about money. I need to learn about money. Like, I'm so curious. I have seen what's possible. I just want that for myself. And that became a passion. Like, I thought it was, okay, let's learn about money just a little. I went, oh man, look, you can see all my bookshelves here. It became a passion because it's like money was everything that finally closed the circle in my life. Again, I come from an abusive childhood in many ways. My mom too. And the female in my family are, for me, like the warriors. My grandma, my sister, but above all, my mom. And I just think how things could have been different for all of them, for my grandma, but mainly my mom. If she could have had the education around money and career that I had, because she sacrificed so much for us. So I realized that money gives women power and the opportunity to get out of unsafe places, abusive relationships, and toxic environments. It allowed me to do that. And I know at some point, finally, it allowed my mom to do that. So I started to teach women about this in Relentless Latina because I know to this day, so many women are in abusive relationships and toxic jobs in very unsafe places because they don't have the money. And for me, what allowed me to manage my money was to first grow my career.
Yes.
Janice from Yo Quiero Dinero, she talks about use your career as your angel investor for the life that you want. And I love that. It's your angel investor. So my career was my angel investor to fund the investments that now will allow me to do so many things.
Yeah.
And I want this for more women because I think we need to talk more about this. And I think we need more Stephanie, we need more Bernadette, we need more Fernanda's out there talking about this.
Ta-da! If you like this content, please go ahead and check out my latest project. It's the Crush Your Money Goals book, and it will be available for purchase December, but now you can get it for pre-order and you can learn the 25 money habits that will help you save, invest, and plan for financial freedom the same way that I did and was able to retire by 40. Check it out at crushyourmoneygoals.com.
Yeah, I think when you start this work and you surround yourself with a bunch of other women that are very passionate about this work, it can be very easy to feel like, oh, everybody's talking about this. But I think the thing that we constantly have to remind ourselves is that there's so much work to be done in this space of helping women make connection and comfortable connection with money, because I can't say enough how uncomfortable it is really for many people. And for so many reasons, right? And that's okay to feel that discomfort. but it's very possible to not have to feel that way as you move along. In the face of this conversation is changing so much for all the right reasons. And it's amazing to have you as part of that and to see your journey continue. So you're welcome. So now that you are in this space of working alongside of growing Relentless Latina, this will be kind of my last question for you. What are you having to, I'll put this more in the form of boundaries, not necessarily quitting, but how are you managing both? And what advice would you give other women who recognize that they have either a skill or an immense passion for something and are considering doing that work alongside their 9-to-5?
Yes, that's actually a pretty good question. So I will try to keep it transparent, right? I think that's for me, when somebody gives me actual advice and is transparent, it helps a lot. So I hope this help whoever is listening. I do work a 9-to-5. It's actually more like an 8 to 4:35. It depends.
That's great.
The boundaries actually I put with myself, not with my employer, because part of my career journey was to find an employer that was like you call it supportive, and it is. My boss, I actually look up to him so much because he's young. He's very hands off, which I love. I don't like to be micromanaged. And I have the freedom and the flexibility to manage my time, my hours, and my team, however I want it, as long as I deliver. Oh, and he knows I deliver. So I love that, because the boundary I have set for myself is, I am not going to leave work after X amount of time. For example, if I arrive at 7, okay, let's leave today at 4. If I arrive at 8, let's leave, 4:30 max.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to work weekends. I used to work sometimes weekends, or come home and then work on my 9-to-5. So that boundary is set in stone. I don't work at home anymore. I don't work in holidays. I don't work on weekends. If I have time off, I don't work. Fun out. And I'm very clear, and I am very clear with my team, and I expect the same from them. I found it good, to lead this way, because it makes, my team feel comfortable. But that's one boundary. The second boundary around my business is to not do things that make me feel uncomfortable, or that don't align with my values, or that gut feeling that it just doesn't feel right.
Sure.
So if I feel pressure to, I have to open this coaching group. No, I just, whenever it's right for me, if mentally my health, I feel that is, being jeopardized, because trying to balance both is very challenging.
Mm-hmm.
So if I feel that I'm not resting enough, then I delay things. And that's the amazing thing of having a business, right? That you really decide how you want to run it. And for me, it has been I guess the motto in my business is whatever feels right.
Yeah.
There are a lot of decisions and changes that I have been doing intentionally to ensure that I'm also spending time with my friends, that I'm, with my husband, go to Mexico and see my family. Even like having video calls with my best friends, because they are in Mexico, and, my best friend just had a baby. So, be there for the important moments. Those are my boundaries, right? That put those things above everything.
Mm-hmm.
And just lead what feels right. So if, I set a price that I think is fair, and my clients feel is fair, which is awesome. I tell my clients, you know what, I have a trip. I'm sorry, but I can't at this point. Or I was sick, so I had to, sometimes I have to cancel customers because I was super sick. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'm really sorry, but out of respect for you and me, and I love that, because that's part of claiming your worth. For me, that has been part of claiming your worth, not doing anything that doesn't feel good or aligned with who you are as a person. And that impacts health, professional relationships, everything.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of the boundary, I guess, to put myself first. Yeah.
That's awesome. I think having a check-in on boundaries and your boundaries shift over time. My boundaries were, I'd say, very loose in the very beginning of my career, and they really had to tighten up towards the end. And I think checking in with yourself about that, especially when you're going to continue to grow outside of the walls of the 9-to-5, it's really important to sustain that, because tomorrow is not guaranteed, and you have to still live in the moment in the best way possible.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing all of what you've brought to the table today. Tell us a bit more about how we can find you through Relentless Latina and what you have coming up or potentially coming up this year.
Sure. Well, you can find me in relentlesslatina.com. That's my page. I'm working on my blog, so hopefully I'll be launching more of that this year. If you want to work with me, I have right now a group coaching going on in English, but I'm about to open the one in Spanish.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm so excited. A lot of people have reached out asking for something in Spanish. So I'm working on the same coaching group, but in Spanish. And I am also having one-on-one coaching right now. I try not to overbook myself, but I try to have like a free consultation, 30 minutes, just to get to know each other, So just send me a DM. I am on Instagram, relentless.latina. That's how you can find me, actually. TikTok, Instagram, and Threads.
Your website. Okay.
Yes. So you can just send me a DM. On Instagram is where I'm mainly. So please send me a DM if you want to chat, if you have any questions, if whatever you want to say, you can just send me a DM. Yes. So, let me say maybe something final about quitting. I also quit the idea of, again, you see so many things in social media and you see many things in television. I also quit the idea of seeing that everything. I try to stop following things that didn't align with myself. And I started to look more inside. And one of those was actually going back to my roots and just talking Spanish. I mean, that's my language. That's my native language more than English, as probably you really realized.
Yeah.
So I started to create a lot of content in both languages. And just do what feels right for me. So I feel that has allowed me to connect on a deeper level with my beautiful Latinas. Yes. So yeah, if you can DM me in Spanish, please do.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. And I think that's the shift that I'm seeing, right? Is you making the decision to move forward as your most comfortable and full self. And I see it, and I know your clients see it. So thank you so much for being here. We will link all of Fernanda's information in the show notes. And thank you for spending time with us today.
Thank you, Stephanie. It has been an honor. I hope to meet you soon in person.
Oh, I know. It is in our future. We've had so many opportunities. We're going to make it happen.
Yes. But thank you. It was an honor to be here. Thank you for opening this space. Thank you, and Bernadette. I really appreciate, and I admire you and follow you and look up to you both so much. You're doing a fantastic job, and I love that. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Crush Your Money Goals podcast.
Please leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to this podcast. Your feedback helps us spread the wealth of knowledge to more women like you.
And if you'd like to work with me to help you answer the important question, if I'm on track to retire, be sure to snag my free financial independence planner at womenswealtheffect.com/planner.
And if you'd like to work with me to kickstart your financial freedom plan, you can grab the Cha-Ching Checklist, my free guide at crushyourmoneygoals.com/free guide.
See you next time.